Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode. I'm your host, Davon. Appreciate you guys coming through to show your love and support. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell as we get into gears of everything this following evening as I'm doing an AEW Dynamite review. As so many things went on from start to finish, couldn't ask for anything better. When it came to tonight, we had a phenomenal card as we had the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Samoa Joe, and action taking on Warlow. We also had tag team action as the Elite took on Eddie Kingston, Penta El Zero, and Pac. And also we had a phenomenal singles match between Darby Allin and Jay White. Also, we ended up having women's action, which was Willow Nightingale taking on Riho. And also I had another phenomenal tag team match, which was Hook and Chris Jericho taking on the Gates of Agony. And so much more went on from the night as it was high pandemonium. It was full of tensions going back and forth when it came tonight, and it was fully delivered as we had a full debut of Mercedes Monet, who made her AEW Dynamite debut. Couldn't ask for anything better as the crowd was red hot when it came to her take of her basically selling, and also her in-ring promo was phenomenal when you couldn't ask for anything better. Same when it came to the World Heavyweight Championship match between Warlow and Samoa Joe. I feel like that match fully delivered on all cylinders. You couldn't ask for anything better when it came to that match, directly from my own personal opinion. But let's go ahead and dive into everything that happened on for the night, starting off with AEW Dynamite. As things kicked off into high gear, as we ended up having Renee Paquette kicking off things off at AEW Dynamite, as a Mercedes Benz pulled up, but there was no person assigned being shown, and then announcers hype up the card, going from there. And then from there, the introduction of the music with a new theme came through, and it was Mercedes Renee with her brand new theme with the little hype up theme of CEO starting out as the prelude, and the crowd was pretty much chanting CEO all the way through the whole entire crowd. The crowd was really highly invested, and you couldn't ask for anything better when it came to the crowd in Boston. The Boston clearly was invested. It was full of emotions, and things really looked really good for her homegrown hometown appearance tonight. And you couldn't ask for anything better. She was thanking the fans, and she was happy to be back and going from there. But let's go ahead and get into basically her actual in-ring promo, which she was delivering and talking about. She said that she made plenty of magic, and she thanks the fans again. And she says tonight means a lot to her, and wrestling means a lot to her in general. And also, she addressed that she said wrestling has changed her life, and she said the name of Eddie Guerrero and said he helped her and see what she could do one of these days. And also, she reflected on the women's evolution, and she reflected on her past success and on the road to basically getting there to AEW just in general, and all of her championship accomplishments and everything in general. You couldn't ask for anything better when it came to her directly from her deliverance, and she was heartfelt. She seemed very sincere, and she was straightforward, was full of emotions because she was glad to be home when it came to her new home here in AEW, which was phenomenal chant, and she knows she's a star, and it showed it based on her presence and the way how she delivered herself. You couldn't ask for anything better. But also, she also called AEW the one place where the revolution can be global, and we're going to make that happen. And she also looks forward to mixing up with all the women in the back of the roster. And she calls Willow Nightingale and says they have unfinished business. And she also says she is officially all elite. And she thanked Tony Khan and the fans for calling her the new CEO from there. And then we switched gears up into the next following contest. It was Samoa Joe defending the AEW World Heavyweight Championship as he was getting ready to gear up things and get ready to take on Warlow. But they started off with an interview from Samoa Joe, who previewed his upcoming match against Warlow. And he says Warlow is overdue as he's owed him depth, and he declares that he doesn't lose the title at the TD Garden. And this was a full-on tape message from there. And then it shows another tape message from Adam Cole, who was showing reading a book, and he reads a story about Warlow and the highlights of his road up to his AEW promo, and he says Warlow has missed the Kingdom of Brethren, and he found one in the Undisputed Kingdom. And Cole says Warlow is a dominant beast, and he says that he will slay the beast to complete the prophecy. So that was a nice little prelude from both sides. They both fully delivered when it came to both promos, hyping up the match for the World Heavyweight Championship for AEW, and you couldn't ask for anything else when it came to that directly. But let's go ahead and get into this AEW World Championship match, which will win a full distance match, really delivered from start to finish, including a whole lot of chain wrestling. This was meat on meat action, including Samoa Joe controlled majority of this match. But this match was all on full blows, everything in between. These two were going back and forth with signature moves, back and forth, a whole lot of high drama. The fans were highly interested when it came to this match directly. The fans are really behind Samoa Joe throughout this whole entire match, and you couldn't ask for anything better when it came to these two powerhouses doing their deliverance and basically keeping the fans highly invested. This was a slow paced match, but it wasn't too bad from there. And then, of course, things got towards the end of the match slowly as things were breaking down. Warlow basically faked out a knee injury to lure in Samoa Joe, but then he gouged his eyes. And then Joe drills him with a knee strike, and then it was for gets a 2 count. And then Samoa Joe evades a senton, and then pushes Warlow in the corner, but Warlow power bombs him, and then he does it again. But then Samoa Joe counters and goes for the Kino clutch, and then he locks it in. Of course, Samoa Joe hops on Warlow's back, and then basically keeps it in. And then Warlow was trying to work his way to the ropes, but he ended up falling backwards, and then he ended up passing out from the Kino clutch. And Samoa Joe ended up retaining the World Heavyweight Championship. As that was a nice detailed match. Couldn't ask for anything better, as this was meat on meat competition. This match fully delivered on all cylinders, and you couldn't ask for anything better when it came to the World Heavyweight Championship. But post match after the World Heavyweight Championship, we ended up having Swerve Strickland work his way as he was coming down with security and Prince Nana, and he was in no moods, no games. The funniest spot of the night was when he ended up kicking one of the security officers and then started knocking them all down one by one, taking them out. And he knocked one of the security officers with the chain and slowly worked his way towards the ring in a fight of fury, fully upset, focusing on one person straight on Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe ended up grabbing his championship, smirking. And then as Swerve Strickland was making his way directly in the ring, Samoa Joe went ahead and rolled directly out the ring to retreat from there as things continued to break down afterwards from that whole situation. And then they ended up cutting back to a breakout, not a breakout, but a break from there. And then they ended up having an interview with Elite, which was interviewed by Alex Marvez, as he tried to get an interview directly with Elite and Okada. And the Young Book says Okada's passport says that the Rainmaker's on it, and so it should be shown with respect. And Matthew Jackson highlights that their synergy and their friendship, and says that he's coming for Penta El Zero and Pac and Eddie Kingston. And he tells Marvez to sing happy birthday to Matthew, because today was his official birthday. So to push it out there, happy birthday to Matthew Jackson. Hope you have a wonderful, blessed birthday, and you enjoyed your action when it came to whatever you got into throughout your day, and you delivered from there and had a good time when it came to tonight's performance, which was full delivered. And that trio's action was really good from my own hot take. Then we get into the trio's action, which Eddie Kingston and Okada started off the bout pretty strong. It started off with an Okada tag to Matthew Jackson. Then they squared off. Then Pac made a couple of tags. And then, of course, then they went back and forth when it came to interchange of moves, trios, actions, high spots. Penta was able to drill, not a J driller, but he drilled with a thrust kick over onto Matthew Jackson. And then Pac and Penta did a double team move directly on Nicholas Jackson. And so many different things that went on as Matthew had a little bit of a tantrum throughout the match. I don't know what caused that situation. I wasn't really paying attention too much when it came to that trios match. And then Okada and Kingston duked it out pretty much throughout in the ringside as well. And Elite took control of his match and try to isolate everything that was going on when it came to Eddie Kingston. But Eddie Kingston was able to rally back and then make some maneuvers, including an exploder suplex, and get things interchanged. And things broke down from there. Once he got the hot tag into for Penta, and then Penta basically was on a full cylinders, high offense. Everything broke down from there as things went smoothly when it came to the transition of Penta basically doing a whole bunch of moves, including a nice springboard 450 splash, which was phenomenal from Penta. And then also we still had a breakdown between Eddie Kingston and Okada was going at it a lot tonight, and they were going back and forth with a couple of trade blows back and forth. You couldn't ask for anything better when it came to them directly. But the conclusion of the match basically broke down when they worked Okada hit a missile dropkick on Pac, and then Penta dove in directly with his opponent, so set up something that was going on at the ringside, and he counted for a 2 count when he hit a 450 splash for himself as well. And then Eddie Kingston and Okada continued to go back and forth as the bodies continued to go, broke down throughout the match as so many high spots was going on and people were making dives. And then Penta was going for a super kick, and then Eddie Kingston Nicholas into the ropes, and then Nicholas kicks Kingston below the belt with a low blow, and then Okada ended up pinning Eddie Kingston with the Rainmaker, and then sealing the deal for the 1-2-3 as the Elite ended up picking up the victory in a hard-fought battle. But then after the post-match, Okada ended up taking the AEW Continental Crown Championship from the referee, and he clearly makes a statement that he's interested in the gold, and he races it over his head from there. So it looks like we're going to see a future bout between Okada and Eddie Kingston, which I look forward to seeing and seeing where they go with that transition. I know that match is going to be hard hitting, but we shall see how this turmoil turns out with the tensions continue to build up between the Elite and Eddie Kingston and all the other parties who are being involved when it comes to the EVPs and Okada. Then we switched the gears up into a video package was played between Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, which highlighted their rematch following up for next week. And you saw everything that broke down a collision with whatever Adam Copeland had directly in the case, and basically scared Christian away to let him know that during this I Quit match, it's going to be serious, it's going to be hard hitting, and somebody's gonna be not the same when it comes to this I Quit match. But I'll see. I think I see Adam Copeland most likely probably maybe coming off with the victory with that one. But we shall see what happens in the near future when it comes to next week. And I look forward to seeing where the tensions continue to lie when it comes to the I Quit match. But I look forward to enjoying it and being watching it and seeing what spots or something different they may come up with when it comes to that I Quit match. Adam Copeland and Christian always have a long, great chemistry. And even when they're going into singles action, you can't ask for anything better. But the biggest picture is, where does the patriarchy stand? Are they going to be banned from ringside? Are they going to be getting involved? If they are involved, is Adam Copeland going to have some backup to help him kind of extinguish and kind of keep the patriarchy at bay? Probably may end up seeing maybe somebody down the line to help him out. And see what goes on from there. Then we switch gears up for in-ring segment with Will Ospreay, who comes down to the ring for when I was interviewed, then he discussed his upcoming match against Bryan Danielson at AEW Dynasty. And the fans chant "bruh," which that was loud. The Boston crowd really was fully energetic, and they were highly invested when it came to every single performer who came through that curtain and basically delivered themselves. And I really enjoyed the Boston crowd. They've got to continue to go back to Boston and deliver some kind of pay-per-view from there, because I feel like the Boston crowd really highly delivered it, and I feel like they deserve it in the long run when it came to that. But back to the notes, Ospreay said Danielson told him to prove that he's the best in the world, and he brings up the controversy surrounding the Tiger Driver 91 and says it was worth it. And Ospreay says the match against Danielson means a lot to him, and he brings up the restoring the feeling phase and says, bruh, I'm feeling it. And you know he's feeling it directly when it comes to everything that's going on to being a part of AEW. He seems highly excited. He seems highly invested, and he seems excited to be in AEW I know some rumors is going around directly that they had an interview directly with him, asked him why he choose AEW or WWE, and he said AEW, WWE just wasn't a full fit for him, and he felt like AEW was the right move for him based on his whole schedule and everything in between that was going on directly in his life from there. Um, then they continue to go directly about that when he says that AEW is all about and that they pit the two of the best wrestlers in the world against each other and says that he will be about proving who the best in the world is and that he's on another level and that he's going to show it. So pretty much, I know these two of these both men are going to deliver in the highest regard as delivering the best match possible. This match may be end up being the best match of the year, or being credited as bad as being one of the best matches of the year for 2024. But we shall see when it comes to AEW how they make this interchange, how they deliver when it comes to chemistry, because it's been a long time coming to seeing the two of the best in the world actually going at it when it comes to AEW, the deliverance inside of the ring. Um, then we go to Deonna Purrazzo, who dresses Tony Storm and says this isn't over. She says she will have no problem finding a partner for a match next week, and she tells Storm to watch for the shoe as she is heading straight. Why is it straight heading straight up her ass? Which that was a kind of funny little segment and kind of little interview segment. And Deanna's looking to make some redemption, so we shall see who her partner is. If you guys have any intertwine or have any ideas who Deanna may have as her partner, feel free to comment that down below. I would love for you guys to put your input, and I will reply back to you in chat with you guys back and forth. Um, then we switch things up for the next following match, which was on the card for the night. It was Darby Allin facing Jay White. This match was pretty decent. It went the distance. It was a total of 14 minutes and 22 seconds. But this match went the distance between a whole lot of chain wrestling, a lot of controlling throughout this match. This match was a whole lot of back and forth, a lot of high spots, a lot of transitional moves, including the chain wrestling that really was on par. And Darby Allin was just crashing, burning. He was doing some high spots. He also did a stinger splash, and then could help a little moxie there. But and then of course, Jay White was doing it as well, doing a whole lot of mocking to Sting and stuff in between. And then, of course, things continued to broke down throughout this whole entire match. As things really broke down from there. And then it was a nice thing to see him, Darby Allin, actually doing the homage and hitting the Scorpion Death Drop, and then trying to go for the coffin drop. But White ended up moving out the way directly, and he ended up letting basically crash and burned on the floor directly from there. But the conclusion of the match ended up happening after things broke down after avoiding a count out after Darby Allin crashed to burn on the outside trying to do a coffin drop. Jay White took advantage of that and ended up hitting the Blade Runner for the 1, 2, 3. Following the post match, the celebration continues as the Guns have extended the handshake to Darby Allin, but it turns out to be a gun taunt. And the Bullet Club Gold ended up attacking Darby Allin. And then the Claim made their way down running to make the save. They clearly some tension between the Bang Bang Scissor Gang as we're finally seeing that broke down. Thank God we're pretty much extinguishing in that group. There, I feel like the group fell very flat. But it's time for them to just go ahead and go their own separate ways or get into a trios feud, go title for title, and then go from there, or even just retires one of the trios titles, either the Ring of Honor or trios titles, because it's not actually needed. But we shall see what happens in the long run when it comes to the direction and where they go from here when it comes to that standing feud. But as they continue to break down through the post match, things we continue as they continue to argue. Jay White blindsides Billy Gunn with a chair shot, and then Bulletproof Gov turns on the Claim, and they leave them lying in their wait. And they also take out Darby Allin as well with a victorious shot to the ankle, and things broke down from there. So it's kind of nice to see that Bullet Club Go did actually break up with them, but I'm like, it just needs to go in a different direction from there when it comes to them. And I'm like anybody else who truly understands that that feud just really wasn't going anywhere when it came to them being stable and I've just fallen asleep when it came to every time they was on my television. I just was not interested in it. I went on a piss break or something like that when it came to the Bang Bang Scissor game. It just was not clicking for me whatsoever. Then we switch things up for the next match on the card for the night. It was a tag team action. It was Hook and Chris Jericho taking on the Gates of Agony of Toa Liana and Bishop Khan. Um, the Gates of Agony are a team that you can't sleep on. They are some hard hitting boys, and they know how to deliver when it comes to tag team action. And I love that they're putting them more on AEW Dynamite. We're starting to see them a little bit more. I also think they're a better fit when it comes to Collision, when it comes to even Swerve taking over that spot as well. But we shall see what happens in the long run when it comes to the Gates of Agony directly for them to see where they branch out and if they can actually get the AEW Tag Team Championship down the line through the tournament. And I think there'll be the nice fit for them to go ahead and get the go from there. But the match started off pretty strong when it came to Hook and Chris Jericho versus Gates of Agony. As Hook and Jericho took control of the match with a couple of double suplexes, they started off strong, but they were getting overpowered throughout the majority of this match by Gates of Agony. As Gates of Agony really were conducting the match, they controlled it with their power and strength. And Jericho and them were trying to maintain and trying to keep things under control and trying to do if they can to get the advantage back. But they were isolating Jericho throughout the majority of this match. He was getting grounded and pounded, and the offense really just wasn't there. But until when he was able to finally get a hot tag to Hook, Hook was able to get a couple clotheslines, a couple suplexes in, and then Khan was able to gain the upper hand by kind of with a double team move. But Jericho took out Liana, and then Hook locked in the red rum, and things will seal from there as he's able to get the submission victory. And it was a nice seeing that quick. That match was pretty quick, but wasn't too bad. But Hook and Jericho kind of got that odd kind of chemistry, but I highly enjoyed it. It wasn't too bad for my taking. I want to see more of Hook, and I enjoy with the entrance with them having a spotlight. That was a great take when it comes to Tony Khan adding that permanent to his entrance. And you can't go wrong when it comes to Hook just in general. He's still young in his prime, and he's going to become a phenomenal star in the long run, even if he still stands with AEW or over time if he decides to make his transition and go to WWE. But you couldn't ask for anything better when it comes to Hook and Jericho as they ended up being victorious for the night. Congratulations to them for getting up that victory over the Gates of Agony, as those are two big boys. It's kind of hard to take the victory over when it comes to them directly. Then we switch gears up to an interview of Kyle O'Reilly, who's having a direct interview. He's reflected on his time away from the ring and says he wonders if he can still hang. He says that he has a sight set on Brian Keith, and he will face Brian Keith in his return to the ring. And then Roger Strong interrupts him and said he respects and loves Kyle. And they hug, and Strong walks off after Mike Bennett and Matt Taven gives him a fist pump. And then things switches up from there as they cut from that actual backstage interview. So we shall see what happens in the long run if they may end up turning on Kyle O'Reilly or set them in the long run, but they're still playing kayfabe and kind of keeping it calm, cool, and collective when it comes to Kyle. But don't sleep on Kyle O'Reilly. Basically, you get him in a hot temper. He's like a pit bull, and he can handle things on his own and be great when it comes to if you let him get his temper under him directly in singles action. Then we switch things up to the video package hype for the main event, which is Riho versus Willow Nightingale. And that match look like it's going to be phenomenal. You couldn't ask me anything better. Willow has always been great when it comes to her. I'll take Rio's the first AEW Women's Champion, and she's strong for her little size, but she can get the job done, and you can't go wrong when it comes to both of these ladies who know how to deliver. And it's amazing seeing that they're both are going to be main eventing AEW in 2024, being the first ladies to actually be main eventer for AEW Dynamite for 2024. Mercedes walks up and introduces herself to Riho ahead before the main event, which is a kind of nice little intro. And then backstage, they end up showing another little pan shot of Chris Jericho Hook and are asked about their win. And Jericho says Hook rose to the occasion, and he is a future world champion. And basically it's written all over him in the sands when it comes to that. And he says that he needs to know what it's like to face him, and he challenged Hook to a match next week. So those two are going to go at it, battle face to face, and I look forward to seeing that match. Jericho's going to have his hands tied when it comes to Hook, but Hook also gets to mix up with a veteran and get a little bit of more knowledge, and you can't go wrong with Jericho, who's always been hands-on when it comes to the new talent and showing them how to feed out the crowd and how to become better as a talent just in general. So then we get ready for the main event of tonight. Is Willow Nightingale and Riho in the main event. These ladies fully put on a nice clinic. They really went the distance when it came to tonight. You couldn't ask for anything better when it came to Willow Nightingale and Riho. These ladies really knew how to put on all the punches, including we saw a nice couple of moves, including a nice tiger fin kick from Riho, and then of course a nice diving crossbody directly from Willow Nightingale, including the nice pounce where Willow delivered that pounce. Oh man, she really hit that pounce and sent Riho flying. But Riho still was able to control herself and control her composure and really stand her ground and battle until she basically could. Then Riho ended up hitting a dragon suplex on the apron, which was a nice prime spot, which wasn't too bad from there. Then, of course, there was a little bit of more trained wrestling, and just the bigger girl Willow was really just overpowering and really took advantage of this match and really was controlling the match. The conclusion of the match broke down as Willow leveled on Riho with a clothesline, and she hit her with a Dr. Bomb for the 1, 2, 3, and sealed that victory when it came to the end of the main event. And you couldn't ask for anything better when it came to the deliverance of Willow. Pretty much did everything she could, and she beat the first AEW World Champion. But you also got to give props to Riho, as she did basically everything she could to hang in there, and she did what she basically could. But also like to go into you guys' hot take from it, and comment down below and let me know how you guys felt about that match. But things broke down and it quickly as after the post match, the lights go out. Julia Part appears, and then when they come back on, Sky Blue appears as well, and they both attack Willow Nightingale. Then Mercedes Moné comes down to the ring and makes a save, and she fights off Julia Hart and Sky Blue. And then Mercedes Moné raises Willow's hand as the theme song came on for Willow, and then they end up standing tall as things broke down and went off the air. I'd like to know you guys' hot take of Mercedes now getting involved into the women's division. All the matches in the card was phenomenal. For my own hot take, this card was great from start to finish. Seeing so much going when it came to the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, that match fully delivered. The battle of the meats, you couldn't go wrong when it came to Warlow and Chris Jericho, not Chris Jericho, but Samoa Joe. They really put on a nice clinic. The trios action was somewhat sour, but it was all right as the Elite picked up the victory over Eddie Kingston and Penta El Zero, and also Pac. And then the Jay White versus Darby Allin. I feel like this was a long stretch, but great clinic as Jay White ended up picking the victory over Darby Allin. I look forward to seeing him in the future, mixing it up again and seeing what goes on from there. And then, of course, the tag team match of Hook and Jericho against the Gates of Agony. That was a phenomenal tag team match. Couldn't get any better, but it was decent. It kept me invested. And I look forward to seeing next week as Hook and Jericho mix it up for some tag team action from there. Then, of course, the main event between Willow and Nightingale and Riho. Those ladies delivered. Congratulations again for main eventing AEW Dynamite. It was a nice feat to seeing how things are breaking down. And then, of course, seeing Swerve Strickland making his appearance and showing the face side of him. Couldn't ask for anything better when it came to Swerve. Swerve has always been in his own, and he's always been great. I truly enjoy when Swerve makes his presence, the crowd really be highly invested and really be fully behind him. You couldn't ask for anything better. For my hot take, when it came to tonight was phenomenal. I give it out basically 4 out of 5 stars. Pretty decent. Kept me highly invested. Every match was kind of paced out. It didn't feel rushed when it came to some of the matches, but it wasn't too bad whatsoever from my own personal opinion. But I appreciate you guys coming through and showing your love and support. But post your comments down below, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, you guys stay blessed, and I'll see you later. Peace.